Diyos ko, ang mahal pala. Yung bayad for submitting just an EOI is, so if it's cheaper, bakit hindi yun yung in-applyan ko? Hi everyone! Kamusta mga kabayan? If you're new here, let me introduce myself. My name is Anne, aka Girl Chasing Sunshine, and I'm your Pinoy girl here in New Zealand. I make videos about my life here as a Filipino migrant who started with just a working holiday visa. So if you're into those kinds of videos, then please do like and subscribe. You can also follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Girl Chasing Sunshine. In today's video, I am revealing kung magkano nga ba ang nagastos ko para maging residente dito sa New Zealand. You might be thinking, nagawa mo na yung video na yan, napanood na namin yan, ulit-ulit ka, ha? But no, kabayan, that's a different video. That one is specific to the cost that I had to spend when I first migrated here to New Zealand via the working holiday visa. If you haven't watched that one yet, then I suggest you go and have a watch so you have an idea kung magkano nga ba ang aabutin ng gastos kung pupunta kayo dito sa New Zealand. Our video for this episode is about the financial investment that I made to become a resident here in New Zealand. Because, let's be realistic mga kabayan, the cost does not stop once you arrived here in New Zealand. Actually, and in fact, it will just keep on piling up, not just because of the everyday living expenses, but because you will be chasing one visa after another to be able to stay indefinitely here, to be able to have the rights of a New Zealand resident, and eventually a New Zealand citizen. That's the reality mga kabayan. Magkano nga ba ang gagastusin mo para maging residente dito sa New Zealand? Short answer mga kabayan, malaki. As in malaki talaga. Hindi ko na i-sugarcoat pa because it's really going to cost you quite a substantial amount of money. Kaya dapat ngayon pa lang we are already preparing, starting to save up for our future and for our goals. Actually, isa yan sa ating mga tips and advice sa ating dreams video na sana napanood nyo na mga kabayan. The cost that I will be revealing today is specific to the residency pathway that I took back in 2019, which is called the Skilled Migrant Category, or in short, SMC. So, yung SMC, this is New Zealand's points-based residency system. So, kung gusto nyong gumawa ako ng detailed video about SMC as well as my application experience, then leave a comment below, and kung may questions kayo, i-comment nyo rin below and we will make a video about that in the future. But a short overview mga kabayan, SMC is a two-step process. First, you will submit an expression of interest or yung tinatawag na EOI. And then, if you meet the required points for residency, you will then get an invitation to apply for residency or ITA. Once you have this ITA, you can now formally lodge your SMC application by submitting the required documents. Each step has a separate cost, so iba yung bayad sa EOI, tas another bayad pa pag nag-submit ka na ng application mo. SMC is not the only residency pathway. Marami pang options pero hindi na natin iisa-isahin pa. For me personally, there was a cheaper option which is residence from work. I had this option available to me back then because this was the visa that I had before I applied for SMC, and this was called the Work to Residence Talent Accredited Employer Visa. With this visa, if you have worked in New Zealand for an accredited employer for more than 2 years, then you might be eligible for residency. This is a cheaper option kasi hindi mo na kailangang mag-submit pa ng EOI separately. Diretso apply ka na agad. And hindi mo rin kailangan ng language test. So, hindi mo kailangan mag-IELTS or anything. So, if it's cheaper, bakit hindi yun yung in-applyan ko? Well, simply because I didn't want to wait it out for another 2 more years, mga kabayan. At ako nagmamadali ako, bakit ba? Back then, I was thinking, ang daming risks associated with waiting it out for another 2 years. Kasi, nakatali ka sa employer mo within that period. So, ang daming what-ifs na tumatakbo sa isipan ko. What if I didn't like the job enough to stay for 2 years? What if there was a company restructuring? And what if I get fired or let go? O diba? Parang ang hirap niyang i-risk. I wanted that assurance so bad. I wanted that peace of mind, peace in my heart that comes from being a New Zealand resident. Since I already had the points required to be able to be selected from the EOI pool, I took a leap of faith and applied. But ayun nga, mas magastos talaga siya mga kabayan. The costs that I'll state here are from 2019, which was the time na nag-apply ako for SMC, but chinek ko naman siya ngayon lang kabayan. The costs are still similar as of February 2021. So, ano ba yung mga gastos na yon? First, we have the English Proficiency exam. Before you even submit an EOI, you should already have an acceptable English test result to prove your English language ability. Sa EOI form pa lang, tatanungin ka na agad ng score mo, so you should have your valid results ready. Hindi pwedeng after EOI pa. There are a number of English tests that you can take, including IELTS, TOEFL, Cambridge English, saka yung tinake ko na PTE, which stands for Pearson Test of English. This was my preferred test kasi sobrang bilis ng results mga kabayan. As in less than 24 hours, nakuha ko na yung result ko. So for the PTE test, I spent 385 New Zealand dollars. Once you have the results of your English exam, then you can now submit an expression of interest. Before you even attempt to submit an EOI, make sure that you already have calculated your points through the points indicator calculator sa Immigration New Zealand website to make sure that you meet the required minimum points. Kasi kung hindi, kung below 160 kayo, hindi kayo mapipili from the EOI pool, you will not get an invitation to apply for residency, and sobrang sayang lang ng effort at ng gastos mo. Yung bayad for submitting just an EOI is 530 New Zealand dollars. So this is per application mga kabayan, per application, not per person. So if in your application, you already have included your dependents, your partner or your spouse, and your children, then kasama na sila dun sa 530 na bayad. Next up, we have the medical exam and the chest x-ray. Once you get selected from the EOI pool, you get an invitation to apply, and when you're ready to submit your application, one of the things that you need to provide is a medical exam result and a chest x-ray. The Immigration New Zealand website has a list of approved medical centers and panel physicians for you to take your medical exam, so make sure to check that list first before booking your appointment. Generally, the cost would be around 270 to 300 New Zealand dollars. The cost varies by a slight difference among providers, so I suggest kabayan na mag-research na lang kayo, hanapin na lang natin yung pinakamura para naman hindi masayang ang ating pera. Personally, I didn't spend any more on medical and chest x-ray kasi I already had it done for my previous visa applications. Usually kasi if you have submitted a medical exam and a chest x-ray for previous visa applications, it will remain in Immigration New Zealand system for 36 months, and pwede mo pa yung magamit sa mga susunod mong visa application as long as it's still valid. Another thing that you have to provide is a police certificate from your home country and from any other country where you have spent 12 months in the last 10 years. For us Filipinos, we need to provide an NBI certificate, and usually kung kukunin lang natin siya sa Pilipinas, 'di ba? Mura talaga siya. I think around 150 or 180 pesos lang siya. But back in 2019, I had to use a documents agent pa yung tawag doon. So they're based in New Zealand, Filipino sila, and they help out with NBI clearance renewals and applications. So during that time, for that service, mahal tong binayad ko mga kabayan, I paid 129 New Zealand dollars. Pero convenient naman, walang hassle, wala na ako inistorbo sa Pilipinas. Tapos sobrang bilis ko lang din nakuha yung NBI clearance ko. Before we continue, dahil nasa usapang gastos na rin naman tayo mga kabayan, I would like to invite you, if you are shopping in Lazada, please use my Lazada referral link, which I will put in the description box below. I hope you can click it so you can help me maintain this channel. Bekena men, mga kabayan. And back to the video. So once you're ready to submit your SMC application, get ready for the biggest chunk. As in, ito na yung pinakamalaking paglabas mo ng pera, as in mapapahinga ka na lang. That is your visa application fee. This is the charge for Immigration New Zealand to process your application. Now, kung tatanungin niyo ako, Ann, paano kapag na-decline yung application ko, mababalik ba sa akin yung application fee? No, hindi po. The fee is, ready na ba kayo mga kabayan? Kumapit kayo sa upuan niyo ha. The fee is 2,710 New Zealand dollars. So, ayan, i-absorb muna natin. But again, keep in mind, this is per application. So, again, kung kasama nyo na yung dependents nyo sa application, pwede na rin, diba? When you get your ITA letter, you will be required by INZ to submit the required documents in hard copy. So, you will need to send them via post and you will be spending for courier fees. If you're using New Zealand Post and one of their postage included bags, para siyang plastic na malaki, ganyan. Siguro maglalagay ako ng picture dito. Yung pinakamalaki yung ginamit ko ng kabayan kasi medyo makapal yung mga documents ko, tas naka-envelope pa and ganyan. So if you're using that similar bag, it would cost you 9.50 New Zealand dollars. Tas noon, nag-add pa ako ng track upgrade add-on para matrack ko yung parcel ko, obviously. Pero $1 lang naman yan mga kabayan. So in total, that's 10.50 New Zealand dollars. I did that twice. First, when I sent in my SMC application, and the second time was when I received my approval in principle letter. Immigration New Zealand required me to send back to them a hard copy or the physical copy of my passport para ma-verify nila. So, sinend ko ulit yun via post. So, in total, for courier fees, I spent 21 New Zealand dollars. There are other fees that you need to take note of when applying for SMC. I did not spend for these other costs or other items, but I'm sharing these in this video so you are aware in case this applies in your circumstance. First is passport renewal. So ideally, since you are applying for residency, you want your passport to be valid as long as possible. Kung pwede nga, until makapag-apply ka na ng PR eh. Pero ang minimum requirement lang ni Immigration New Zealand is that your passport must be valid for a period of at least 3 months after you plan to leave New Zealand. Pero ba't ka pa magpa-plan to leave New Zealand kung residency na ina-apply mo, diba? Well, anyway, that's the minimum requirement. So, kung mag-expire na yung passport mo, I suggest that you do your renewal first before applying for SMC. Some applicants would also need to get an NZQA assessment, which is used to assess tertiary or upper secondary qualification awarded outside of New Zealand. So, tayo, nag-aral tayo sa Pilipinas. So, if you claim points for a recognized qualification, and if that qualification, yung course or yung school, hindi siya included dun sa tinatawag na list of qualifications exempted from assessment, then you need to get an NZQA assessment. And that would cost you 445 New Zealand dollars. Diyos ko, ang mahal pala, $445 din. Lastly, if you decide to get an immigration advisor to help you with your SMC application for whatever reason, then keep in mind na additional cost pa yun, ha mga kabayan? Gusto niyo bang gumawa ko ng video about if it's worth getting an immigration agency or immigration advisor to help you come to New Zealand? If you want that video, leave a comment below. So ito na, judgment time na tayo mga kabayan. Let's see what the total comes up to.
530 plus 300 plus 2,710 plus 21 plus 129.
Okay, ito na mga kabayan. The cost for me to become a New Zealand resident via SMC is 3,775 New Zealand dollars. I didn't count the medical and the chest x-ray kasi sabi ko nga, hindi ko naman na kinailangan pang kumuha nito for SMC. But if we would include that in the cost, the total would come up to 4,075 New Zealand dollars. I can understand if na-shook kayo sa presyo mga kabayan kasi mahal talaga siya. And sinabi ko naman sa umpisa na mahal talaga yung aabutin. But I believe that this is a financial investment that's super worth it kasi you are securing your place in a developed country with so much to offer. You are securing your future and the future of your future children. Ang daming future nun, ha? My advice would be to start saving up as soon as you can so you can be closer to your goals. I'm really looking forward na magkita-kita tayong lahat dito sa New Zealand one day, mga kabayan. I am rooting for all of you, for all of your success. Ayun, just keep working on your dreams and don't let anyone or anything, even the cost, stop you from chasing your sunshine. I hope you find the information in this video valuable in your journey to come here to New Zealand. If you do, please like this video, and if you have any questions, just leave a comment below and I will answer as many of those as possible. I'll see you in our next video, mga kabayan. Don't forget, in this channel, we have a lot of other videos about moving, living, and working here in New Zealand. So if you haven't watched those other videos yet, please do check them out. See ya!